Hello everyone, we are still talking about the pharyngeal apparatus, but now we'll deal with the cartilages of the pharyngeal arches. In this section, we'll deal with various cartilaginous components that are formed by pharyngeal pouches. We'll deal with them one by one, as in first we'll deal with the cartilaginous components of the first arch, then the second, then the third, and finally the fourth and the sixth arch. So let's get into it. Now, the cartilaginous component of the first pharyngeal arch. So, as we've talked about it before, the first pharyngeal arch, as it can be seen in the figure, has a maxillary component and a mandibular component. So, in the mandibular component of the first pharyngeal arch, the cartilage of the first pharyngeal arch, which is known as the Meckel's cartilage, is formed. Here you can see in the figure in pink. This is the Meckel's cartilage, which is the cartilage of the first pharyngeal arch. It is formed in the mandibular component of the first pharyngeal arch. So the dorsal end of the Meckel's cartilage, the remaining of the Meckel's cartilage does not play any important role, but the dorsal end of the Meckel's cartilage, it forms the malleus and incus, which are actually the two bones in the middle ear. So it is very important, the formation of malleus and incus, the middle ear bones. The ventral part of the Meckel's cartilage, it is actually obliterated and forms mandible by membranous ossification. So it forms a membranous, it undergoes membranous ossification to form mandible, and it's finally absorbed or obliterated. So the part of Meckel's cartilage between the mandible and the ear ossicles disappear. So these are the ear ossicles. So the malleus and the incus have been formed. So the part of the Meckel's cartilage, this developing cartilage, is the Meckel's cartilage. So the part of Meckel's cartilage between the ossicles as well as the mandible, it disappears. Only the perichondrium persists, and it forms two ligaments. These important ligaments are the anterior ligament of malleus. Here you can see this is the anterior ligament of malleus in red. And we have this sphenomandibular ligament here. This is the sphenomandibular ligament. So the perichondrium of the part of the Meckel's cartilage between the ossicles and the mandible is retained. The rest of the Meckel's cartilage in that area disappears. This perichondrium turns into the anterior ligament of malleus and the sphenomandibular ligament. Now the mesenchyme of the maxillary process. So in this area, the mesenchyme of the maxillary process helps in the formation of the premaxilla first, then the maxilla itself, then the zygomatic bone, these cheekbones, and a part of the temporal bone. It also helps in the formation of part of the temporal bone. So the mesenchymal component of the maxillary area, it helps in the formation of premaxilla, the maxilla, the zygomatic bone, and finally a part of the temporal bone. So this is all about the first arch. Now let's move on to the second arch cartilage. So the cartilage of the second arch is known as Reichert's cartilage. So in this figure, this is in green is the cartilage of the second arch, or the Reichert's cartilage. So the dorsal end forms the stapes as well as the styloid part or process of the temporal bone. So the dorsal end of this cartilage forms the stapes, which is the third bone of the middle ear, and the styloid part of the temporal bone. The ventral end of this Reichert's cartilage helps in the formation of the lesser cornu and the upper part of the body of the hyoid bone. So now the hyoid bone is formed in part by the second arch cartilage, and the second arch cartilage helps in the formation of the lesser cornu as well as the upper part of the body of the hyoid bone. Now the stylohyoid ligament is actually the perichondrium between the hyoid and the styloid process. So between the hyoid bone and the styloid process, the perichondrium forms the stylohyoid ligament. So moving on, now we have the third arch cartilage. The ventral part of the third arch cartilage, it forms the greater cornu and the lower part of the body of hyoid. So third arch cartilage is shown in blue here, in blue. So it helps in the formation of the hyoid bone. Now it forms the greater cornu and the lower part of the body of the hyoid bone. So hyoid bone is formed by two embryological origins: the cartilaginous component of the second aortic arch, that is the Reichert's cartilage, and the third aortic arch. Reichert's cartilage formed the lesser cornu of the body of the hyoid bone, and the third arch cartilage helps in the formation of the greater cornu and the lower part of the body of the hyoid bone. Now the fourth and sixth arch cartilage, they are actually fused together with each other as shown in the figure with an orange and a yellow color here. So these are the cartilages of larynx. So these include the thyroid cartilage, the cricoid cartilage, the arytenoid cartilage, the corniculate cartilage, and the cuneiform cartilage. So 5 important cartilages are formed by the cartilages of fourth and sixth pharyngeal arch, which fuse with each other. They come to lie together. They form the thyroid cartilage, the cricoid cartilage, the arytenoid cartilage, the corniculate, and the cuneiform. The only cartilage that is not being formed by fourth and sixth arch cartilage in this area is the cartilage of the epiglottis. So the epiglottis develops from the caudal part of the hypobranchial eminence. So the cartilage of the epiglottis, or the epiglottis itself, it develops from the caudal part of the hypobranchial eminence. So this figure summarizes the development of various structures from all the various cartilaginous structures from all the pharyngeal arches. Let's get into it one by one. So the first pharyngeal arch, it forms malleus, this bone, this in pink. It also forms incus, this bone. So both incus and malleus have been formed. Now this ligament is also formed. This ligament is known as the sphenomandibular ligament, which is actually the perichondrium. And this the spine of sphenoid is also formed by this first arch cartilage, and the remnants of Meckel's cartilage by membranous ossification helps in the formation of mandible. Here you can see. Now the second arch cartilage forms the stapes, that is the third bone in the inner ear, in the middle ear. Now it also forms the styloid process. Here you can see it also forms a stylohyoid ligament, which is again the perichondrium, only the perichondrium being retained. It also forms the lesser cornu and upper part of the body of the hyoid bone. Now the third arch cartilage, it forms the greater cornu and the lower part of the body of the hyoid bone. And now the fourth and sixth arch cartilages, they form 5 important cartilages. These are the thyroid cartilage, this huge cartilage, this is the cuneiform cartilage. Then we have the corniculate cartilage. These are the arytenoid cartilages, and this is finally the cricoid cartilage. So this is an all-inclusive diagram that helps you understand what cartilaginous components are derived from which pharyngeal arch. I'll recommend you to redraw this diagram by yourself. This way you could easily remember what are the various cartilaginous components given off by various pharyngeal arches. This was all about this section. For further sections, keep watching sqadia.com.